Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Belinda Sandor. Welcome to the weekly webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics of all time, goal setting. I love to set goals. There's something about it for me that is so exciting and really rewarding, to spend some time with myself, think about what do I want to accomplish? Why do I want to accomplish it? What's going to happen when I reach the goal? It's a little crazy how much I love setting goals. And so today we're going to spend some time on it, really look at, how to make the most of them. We're going to talk about language, how important it is, and lots of other pieces to goal setting. I've been setting goals for a long time in a very proactive way, and I'd love to share what I've learned and hear from you as well. What works for you when it comes to goal setting? All right, so let's do this. All right, so while we're warming up here, I would love for all of you. I can see many of you are joining, which is very exciting. If you would tell me where you're coming in from, and I want to know who's here. I want to know who's here. All right, so let's jump in. All right, so for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Belinda Sandor. This is me 11 years ago when I first started on my VA journey. This is my daughter, Emily. She's 20 years old now, and she was about 9 years old. And I was in kind of a bunch of trouble when it came to where I was. I was not where I thought I was going to be when I was just about to turn 50. I had a mountain of debt. I had all kinds of struggles that I needed to deal with. I was getting divorced, so I'm a newly single mom. I didn't have a job. And the struggle had been going on for a while. I wasn't able to pay my mortgage for over a year. And you can just imagine the stress that's involved. Every time the phone rings, it's somebody who wants to talk about my next payment. Very, very intense. And I had no idea how I was going to get out of this. I had to really figure it out. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Hello, Leanne. Good morning. Good morning, morning. So here I am faced with this, and I always consider myself a problem solver, but this was a pretty big problem, and I kind of resolved myself to the fact that, okay, I'd made a certain amount of choices. This is where I was in my life, and I wasn't really going to be able to shift it. So I was going to need to figure out how to make it tolerable, which is not a great way to, walk into your 50th, your fifth decade. But that's kind of where I was. So I thought, all right, I need to get to work. I need to start making money. But how am I going to do that and be the mom that I want to be? I was pretty committed to being with Emily, having a flexible schedule. And I wanted my life to center around everyday moments, things that were important to me in being a mom. The most important one was being able to, when the phone rang and Emily didn't feel well, to just stand up and get in the car and go get her at school. And the reason that was so important to me is I had seen over my corporate years, people having that happen to them and how everybody kind of looked at them, and maybe I'm reading the wrong thing into it, but it just felt like, okay, I get it, and even if the boss was compassionate, they're still the boss and they're thinking, we still got to get this stuff done, where she's missing a meeting. This is happening. How long is this child going to be sick? Things like that. And I just didn't want that. I didn't want that. I didn't want it for me. And I didn't want it for her, because when I'm under pressure, and stress like that, I'm not able to bring my best. I am definitely not able to bring my best. So I wanted that. I also wanted to be at the bus stop in the morning, and I wanted to pick her up in the afternoon, and I wanted to do things like be a Girl Scout leader. I was a Girl Scout for, almost through high school. And I wanted that. If she was interested, I wanted that for her. And I wanted to be a part of that. So that's what I was working with. So, okay, so how am I going to do that? Because I've only really ever had a job. And so I started thinking about temping, because I thought, okay, temping is going to bring in some money pretty fast, because, I don't have to get a job, but I can get to work. So I started temping, and I liked it, and it built my confidence back up a little bit. And I started to see where I could create some value. But the thing is that, so there was good news and bad news about temping. The good news was I was making money right away. The bad news was I was sharing it with the temp agency. So that told me two things too. It told me people were willing to pay more to have help like I was able to offer, right? Because they're paying the temp agency on top of me. And it told me that there was an opportunity to go get that. So I decided I was going to start telling everybody that I knew what I was up to. So I started at the school bus stop. So the dads were there in the morning, the moms were there at night, and I said, okay. So somebody said, what's new? What's going on? And I said, well, I'm going to start doing admin work for small businesses. I've decided I don't want to get a job. I want to be here with Emily. I'm going to try to make this work. And one of the dads immediately said, oh my gosh, I need to hire someone. I've been looking for someone. I didn't know that you were doing that. I started my own business, a few weeks ago or months ago. I don't remember. And I had no idea. Last time I heard, he had this big job as CEO of something. And here he is going out on his own. So we sat down, we talked, we decided to work together. He already knew me. I already knew him, to a certain degree. He trusted me. He'd been seeing me every morning for, years, bringing Emily to the school bus stop. And so we decided to start working together. It wasn't virtual, but that was okay. I went to his office. I could walk there. I didn't have a car at the time, and I could walk to the school bus stop when I was done. And I helped him with everyday kinds of things that everybody pretty much knows how to do, like pay the bills, install software on computers back in the days when you actually had disks and you put them in the computer. I mailed them to the employees around the country. Very simple things. Like I looked in his email inbox, kept that cleaned out, let him know when there was something that needed his attention. So very simple things that really were able to make a difference for him. My next client I found in the buffet line of a wedding that I was attending. Small talk, chit chat. What do you do? What do you do? I told him. I connected with him on LinkedIn. And the thing about that is that, I say this and it makes me laugh now because I'll connect with, not anyone. That's not true because I do look at who's asking me to connect, but I have a lot of connections. And the fact that I was going to ask him to be a connection and click that connect button, it was like I was asking him to marry me. I mean, I just felt so like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is a big deal. And, but I did it anyway. And he got in touch with me through LinkedIn. LinkedIn Messenger used to be able to, ask questions in a group. So he asked several people, do you know anyone who can help me set up an event, take a payment for the event, sell my books in the back of the room? And I immediately was like, me. We talked, he hired me. We're still working together 11 years later. He was great because he showed me that clients were willing to pay me to figure things out. And that was a big aha for me. That was a huge aha. So he wanted to do webinars, and he said, can you figure this out? And I'm like, okay, I can. And because through the last work that we did of the live event, he trusted me. Trust is a huge thing. And he saw that I was willing to work with him and that we got along well. And that goes a really long way. So from there, I started getting referrals. I started learning how to market myself. It's something I call sprinkling. And that's really when my business started to take off. It really started to take off. So I've been in business 11 years, and I've worked with over 225 clients. And it's so interesting. The more people you work with, the more you learn, the more confident you get. It's a very strong cycle. And then I've earned over $1 million in revenue. The first year I was in business, I made $70,000, and I've been able to generate $100,000 every single year since, using a pretty simple methodology that works for VA businesses, and it does not involve cold calling, stalking people on LinkedIn, looking for clients. The system is built so that clients will find me. And it works every time. I took on a new client yesterday, and I didn't know her before. She came through a referral. She got on my calendar. We talked. We decided we were a good fit, and she bought 5 hours. Right? So that's how that works. So for all of you who are in angst, looking for clients, there's a way that you can have them come to you. In fact, the last slide here, and I'll just mention it now, is coming up very soon. We're going to have another 5-day VA Client Kickstart Challenge. So go to the VA Connection, look for the link right at the top and sign up so that you'll be involved in our next challenge. And it's all about getting a steady stream of clients, having clients find you, which is so much more enjoyable than going out and cold calling, right? So I'm going to teach you how to do that. All right, so let's see, who do we have? Hello, Nancy. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Oh, good. I'm glad this is helpful. I'm glad this is helpful. So this is what it looks like today, which is shocking. So here I am. I got married this summer to a delightfully delicious man. He is, this morning he got up, he was like cleaning the house and Emily's car needed a new battery. He's doing that out. It's freezing here. And he's doing that because she's coming home on Friday and just, you know, takes such good care of me and our family. So these are Greg's 4 boys, and this is Emily, and this is our wedding day. And one of the things that really resonates with me, and I was just talking to this friend on Saturday, and I told her this because I'm sure she doesn't remember, is that when I moved to Connecticut, when I settled down, when Greg and I realized, okay, this is what we're going to do, and my life was getting back into shape. What happened is one of my friends said to me, okay, if I would have told you 6 years ago, you know, that Emily would be thriving, because that was a little rocky road for her, you know, for both of us. And that, you know, you would be living with this amazing man. You would have chickens in your backyard and you'd be growing vegetables in your garden and your business would be thriving like beyond anything that you can imagine. I had more than replaced my corporate income. You know, during this time, and I got control of my life. And it was really about being a VA, deciding how my life was going to go. And at the core of that is goal setting. And that's why I want to talk to you about that today. So good morning, Angela. Hello. Love that picture so much. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So in 2018, I decided that I'd been thinking about it for a long time, but I decided that I wanted to start helping other VAs get successful in their businesses because I saw a lot of struggle. I saw, you know, people not charging enough. I saw all kinds of things. And so I just decided that since I had a system and it was working, and since there's no competition because there is plenty of work, let me tell you, plenty of work out there, that I wanted to help other people do this. And it took me a while to figure it out. You know, I wasn't sure exactly how to do it, but I stuck with it and I, you know, kept thinking about it and reading books and watching other people. And so really in September of 2019, I offered my first program through the VA Connection. It was called the Launchpad. And so what the VA Connection does is help established and aspiring VAs grow and scale their business using the skills they already have. I'm a big fan of getting started from where you are, because even though we think we have a choice, like I'll wait till I learn all this stuff, if you could be learning stuff that the people that you work with don't need, right? So it's much better to do it as you go. And I still learn things. I learned something new today. I learned how to, you're going to see this slide. I learned how to get an Excel spreadsheet into a PowerPoint slide with a little Google search, and now I know how to do it. So I'm learning new things every single day. And that's one of the joyous things about being a VA, is that for people who are lifelong learners and just crave new information, this is your gig, let me tell you. Okay, so let's dive in. So I want to know, if you guys like to set goals, I want to know, so put goals in the chat. I want to see how many of you love to set goals, and how many of you are here that are like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure this out. But how many of you love goals as much as I do? I love goals. For me, they're kind of like targets, you know? They're kind of like targets. And I wouldn't call myself a competitive person, especially when it comes to sports. I'm like, you know, that was fun, you know, but not so much with I don't even keep score. Someone else has to keep score. It's kind of a funny thing. But when it comes to my goals, I keep score and I track them and I know where I stand. And I love to think about them and like strategize. It's like, it's very exciting for me. All right. So we've got, let's see. Oh, here we go. I bet that's Frederic. And Yvette, I love goals. Yeah, baby. Yep. I love to set goals, but the bigger issue is actually trying to hit them. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Hello, I love goals too. I'm not that great in achieving them though. Yep, it's kind of a thing, It's not a like set and forget. It's definitely not a set and forget. It's definitely about taking those next steps. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. And we're going to talk about different ways you can do that because everybody's brain works a different way, right? And the way that they need the support is different from how other people need support. So we're going to talk about that too. Now, you can set a goal, and I do all year long. You can look up in June and say, oh, I want to go for that. And it doesn't have to be a January thing. So even though it is January, that's great because I feel like there's this big, clean slate, just waiting for us. But if you set your goals in the summer or the winter or whenever they occur to you, I always have kind of a running list of what's going to be next. One of the keys too is sometimes it's important to have one goal at a time. Like you can have a big giant goal, but to break it down, that's the key too. Because if we set a goal, for example, to be at X number of pounds by December 31st and 2022, that's really hard because if you're like me, I'm going to wait till, I don't know, July, November to start working on that goal, depending on how far I am from the goal itself. So I think to have a bigger vision, but set smaller goals sets us up for success. All right. So here are pretty much the steps, to what I was just talking about. So dream big, set goals, take action, repeat, right? So it's like, where am I going? Set your goals and take action. Now, one of the things that's really important when you set your goals is you want to use words you can measure when you write your goals, right? Words you can measure, like be happier is a great goal, but that's kind of hard to understand when you're happier. You want to do things like this. I earn X number of dollars or more this year. I generally put in or more or better so that I'm not capping myself. So I earned $50,000 or more this year. That would be a goal, like very specific. I consistently bill 35 hours a week, right? 35 hours a week. Hi, Dana. Smiley face. I love that picture. Another goal would be I am X pounds by X. All right. Now, how many of you are thinking about goals for next year? So let me know in the chat. How many of you are thinking about goals for 2022? Put in 2022 in the chat and let me know if it's just me. I have a feeling a lot of you are goal setters. There's certain things about VAs that I find we have these common threads, and helping people is one, achieving things is another. But sometimes we don't think about ourselves. And we need to do that. We need to think about ourselves, because when we don't, I think it impacts our happiness. And the other thing that I found is when I set goals for myself, I bring an energy to my work that my clients are attracted to because they know I'm up to something. They know I'm up to something. So good. So Dana says, me, big transitions happening. Good for you. Good. 2022. Yes. And after Christmas, I will be setting 2022 goals. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Now, one of the things you want to do. Oh, so here comes Yvette. Hello. I'm a new VA. I wanted to start last year, but didn't. But my goal is to be booked out by March, and I am determined to do it. Good for you. Good for you. So let me help you with that. So sign up for the VA Client Kickstart Challenge. Okay. 5-day training, how to get clients. It's not even how to get clients. It's how to get a steady stream of clients. And over the 5 days, I absolutely will arm you with what you need to do that. There's a workbook, there's check-ins, there's homework. all the things so that you can start getting clients right away. All right. So one of the things though is you want to make the goal feel like a stretch. You want it to be a little bit like, so like if you think you want that it's safe to say I'll earn $30,000, let's just make it 40 or 50. And I have a financial goal that I set for next year, and I say it a lot. Like I'll say it in my mind, like, okay, I'm going to make this much. I was doing it this morning. Like, can I make that much? I think I can make that much, and just sort of like walk myself into it. Because when the first time I said the number, I was like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Like, I don't think can people do that? I don't know if people can do that, So you really want to, and so that made me know it was a stretch. It was definitely a stretch. And now I'm like, I can do that, right? Telling Greg, high five, I got this, right? I got this. I could do this. So you want to like ease into it if it feels a little uncomfortable, and make it just not so high that you're like, that you don't believe it. Like you have to be able to talk yourself into it, that you can believe whatever it is. Okay. And you want to write down the why. You really want to get clear on the why. So let's just see. So we've got, I think you should venture into stock trading. Yeah, I'm not good at that, but congratulations on doing that for sure. It's manifesting. Yes, it is definitely manifesting. That's a big part of it for me, is the believing it. Because what happens is when you set a goal and you believe it's possible, you start to see all the possibilities. It's like, oh, well, that would work and that would work. So you're really opening yourself up to wherever energy comes from you. We all have different sources of where we believe energy comes from, and all of them work. But it's just, opening it up, really opening it up. So the why is important, because setting goals is not always, setting goals is not usually difficult, but keeping on them is, keeping track of them. So you want to have a goal, so I can provide a vacation for my family this year. So my debt will be gone by December, so that I can leave my full-time job. I know a lot of you, that's your goal. I want to leave my full-time job. And so you want to dig a little bit. You want to dig a little bit deeper, because you might think it's for something, but ask yourself the question, what else about that? Like, what else about that? Why is this important to me? Because it might be that you want to get rid of the debt, but really what could be at the core of it is that, you want to relieve stress so you can be the kind of mother you want to be, and that's a much deeper connected place than I want to get rid of the debt. Because the debt was for me was the thing, but it was the constant pressure and the constant stress that when, Emily wanted a Luna bar, I'm like, we could just get one. Let's just get one. I didn't want to live my life that way, and so I was very connected to my goals. Good morning, Felicia. Hello. So what you want to do, so once you get to that root, and it might take a little bit, it might take a few days, of sort of thinking about it, like, why do I want to make that much money? Like, what's at the core, more than success, more than, is it saving for retirement? And that would be so you can feel safe, probably. Like, try to get it to a feeling, because I think that helps. Now, you want to map out a path and set deadlines. This is critical, because if you don't make a plan and you don't break it down, it's going to be really hard to know what to do next. And I think that with goal setting, a lot of the problem is, and why we walk away from it, is we don't know what to do next. Because I find for myself, when I know what to do next, it's just a matter of putting it on my calendar or figuring out when I'm going to do it and do it. But when I'm facing something that's big and giant and I don't exactly know how to do it, that is daunting, and I tend to want to go the other direction. And I bet a lot of you feel the same way. And I love this quote because it's true. A goal without a plan is just a wish. right? And we don't want just a wish. We want to nail the goal. So the plan is at the center of this. All right. So I want to talk about what some of those next steps could be for two specific goals. One is financial, and one is it's a little squishier, okay? Because it works both places. All right. So I think we need to remove someone. Whoops. How do we do that? I don't know why I can't do that. I want to remove them. Ugh, you guys, well, I guess we're just going to have to ignore it because for whatever reason, they must not be on Facebook because we're streaming across different. So I apologize for whoever that person is, but hopefully they will not do any harm. Okay. So steps to the goal of making X number of dollars. All right. So the first thing you want to do, let's say you want to make $50,000, is you have to figure out how you're going to get there. Like, I meet with VAs pretty regularly and they'll say, I want to make $100,000, and I'll say, how much are you charging? And they tell me, and then I say, how many hours are you billing? And then they tell me, and the math doesn't work. There's no math. So you have to actually do math. I'm not a fan of math. It's simple math, but it looks something like this. All right, let me make myself smaller. So so what this is the yearly revenue calculator. Okay, this is part of a new product that's coming out, it's like a mini course that's coming out at the VA Connection, probably in the next couple of weeks. This calculator is part of it. It's called the VA Connection Template Bank. And I'm going to make it available to all of you. And this is one of the templates. All right, Greg made this for us. So what you do is you put in your annual goal that you want right here. And then what happens is you put in your current status. So let's say you're billing $40 an hour and you want to work 25 hours a week and you want to work 50 weeks a year. Okay, so you put your current status in here. Then what happens is it calculates for you if that's going to work or not. And in this case, it does. But if I changed my current status to $20 an hour, I'm going to have to bill. It shows you if you're billing $20 an hour, how many hours you're going to need to work and how many weeks you're going to need to work per year. And this is very eye-opening because when you don't know your number, it makes it very difficult to figure it out. And the other thing is I know a lot of people have different hourly rates. They'll have their new clients are at this, their old clients are at this. And there's another, I just thought of this right now, there's another tracker in here where you put in the hours people purchase and at what rate, and it'll show you your average hour. And so sometimes I'll say to VAs, how much are you charging an hour? And they'll say $60 an hour. Like, well, how many of your billable hours is at $60? And then that's a different question or a different answer because it's not all of them. And they have no idea how much they're really getting paid an hour. So that is another spreadsheet that is in the template bank that is available to you very soon, but I want to tell you about it. Okay, so the first step of the goal of making X number of dollars is calculate your how many your rate times the hours and see if that works. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to hit your billable number of hours each week. For me to hit my goal of $100,000, I need to bill between 35 and 37 hours a week. So I need to know where I stand on that because if I'm hitting it consistently, then I have enough clients. If I'm not, I need to think about how am I going to bring new clients in, and that's a whole different thing. But you want to know where you stand. So every day. And you don't have to work the same amount of hours every day, but it does let me know that if I am taking Monday off, and on Tuesday I start to see how much I've accumulated, I check in on Friday, where am I on that goal and how do I want to handle that? Am I going to work Saturday morning when everybody's out running around, or am I going to be okay with that and know that this is an off week and I'll make it up later? But it's important for that to be very present. So a lot of people, they have number of clients. To me, number of clients doesn't really mean anything because the clients can give you 10 hours of work or 5 hours of work, that is really very variable. But the number of billable hours at your hourly rate, that's a very specific target. So I would urge you to think more about that billable hours versus number of clients, because I've had 52 clients at a time and made $100,000. I've also done it even at a lower rate, working with 29 or 39 clients. So, they come and go. Some clients need you a lot. Some will need you, a couple hours a month. So really focus on the billable hours you need. The other thing that would be a goal, a part of this goal of making X number of dollars, is to deliver good work quickly. So churn through that billable work, hit the ball back to the client. Here you go, here you go. And you'll be surprised, the faster that you can turn things around, I believe the more work they give you, because they're like, oh, that was really good. All right, what else can I give her? But if we drag our feet and it takes 5 days to get something done that's pretty straightforward, clients are not going to have a lot of faith in your ability to be responsive. And then the last part of this, and this is a big part of this, is to create what I call a sprinkling plan, which is like a marketing plan, but I call it sprinkling because that sounds a lot more fun than marketing. And it's, networking events, newsletters, social media outreach. Like, how are you going to specifically create a steady stream of clients in your business so that you'll have the billable hours so you can sit at your desk during those hours and make the money that you want? So you can see that there's math involved, but there's softer things like networking and email newsletters and things like that will, that will really play into this. All right. So I want to know how many of you have a financial goal this year, a financial goal. So you put dollar signs in the chat. I want to know if you have a financial goal. I tended to have financial goals every year. What I would do is I would put the number, I would use something called mind mapping. I haven't done this for a while, but I put, $100,000 or more. And then I put all the different things on this map that I needed to do in order to make that happen. So, networking events, speaking engagements, I didn't do that. I didn't do any speaking for the first 5 years because I was too scared, but, oh, good. So you guys are, show me the money. Yeah. Yeah. Why, if you don't want to, hello, Michelle, you are so cute. Look at that little money bag. Yeah. Let's crank it up, because the thing is if you're specific about the goal, you can get there. You definitely can get there, or you can get really close. I mean, if my goal was to make $100,000 and I made 97, I would consider that a win. I would definitely consider that a win. All right. Now I want to talk about a goal that's a little softer and not financially based. So we had Emily graduated from college. She graduated from high school in 2019, and we needed to find the right college for her. Now, it had been 40 years since I applied to college. There was no internet. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't track schools. I was like, whoa, this is a huge goal. It's emotional because she's going away. It's emotional because there's a lot of money associated with this. And so this goal could have been kind of a mess. Okay. So what I did was, and I was going to talk about this later, but, and I'm going to talk about later too, but let me jump in right now. So one of the things I do is I write a story about the goals that I want to reach. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I want to read to you the goal, this portion of my goals that I wrote about Emily, right? So it's like future casting in a way, like deciding how I want this to feel, because that's a big part of it, right? So here what I wrote was, Emily is relaxed and happy, and we've all enjoyed working together to find the right college for her. She is proud of her academic success. She's become an accomplished writer and found a new confidence around the barn. Her friendships and roots in New Canaan have continued to grow, and I'm very proud of her. And I wrote this so many years ago, but it still makes me emotional, and that's how this story should be. And we're going to talk about this. But so my first step in setting the goal was to decide, I wanted to look back on this experience and have it be a connection for us, not a stress point, not a fight, not any of those things that it easily could have been, because this is a very stressful goal. For me, it was a very stressful goal. All right. So I broke it down. My friends, they saw me do it and they're like, "You're rocket girling her." I'm like, "You bet I am." Right. So, so the first thing was we talked about what parts of the country. So I'm like, let's narrow down the United States, and I talked to her about, if you want to come home for Thanksgiving, this is going to be the vicinity of the country. If you go to California, that's likely not going to happen because there's time constraints and there's financial constraints, with where you decide to go to college. So I was really being logical about it and trying to guide her without controlling. That's always a dance. And so then what we did, so she decided she wanted to go south, and she wanted to, so she kind of decided on Virginia, Tennessee, North, South Carolina, like that kind of zone. It's like, okay, that's great. That's a come home for Thanksgiving situation because I can, go get you or whatever. So then she wanted to ride competitively in college because she had done that in high school. So, all right. So now what we need to do is go the competition, the competitive horseback riding. It's like there's an association or something like that. So we went on their website and we downloaded a list of all the colleges that participated in that. Okay. So then what happened was we created a list with the guidance counselor of the school names that she's likely to get accepted at that have a horseback riding component. And then there's another part that I didn't put in a slide, but then what we did was because this is important, looked for all the colleges that had her major. She wanted to study environmental science. She's interested in photography. And my suggestion, it was a little stronger than that, was that they have a business school. So that, because I feel like no matter what you're doing, you're in business, job, whatever you're doing, you're running a business. And there's a business component of every job, let's put it that way. And so I wanted her to think about that. And so then she made a list of a lot. She put them in a spreadsheet. Okay. And then what we did was we planned visits to the school, and then that broke it down. So we're on this road trip, and she sees one school and she thinks it's too big, and the one that we're going to tomorrow is like twice as big. So we cross that off the list and we change our direction. So you can see like these very logical steps. You want to do the same thing with all of your goals. And then we broke down the application process, right? So who had the Common App, who needed a different essay, who needed this, who needed that. And we just tracked it on this spreadsheet. And what was guiding me were the words from the story. So when she's not making the list or she's not figuring it out and she's out with her friends and I'm starting to freak out, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a really fun thing we're doing. Okay, let's bring some fun to this, or at least not bring anger to it or frustration, and see how we can reframe. So you can kind of see how that all works together. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just thinking if there's anything I want to say about that. Yeah. So I was just looking at the comments. So that's how you break it down. And for this, there were deadlines that were imposed. So, the applications were due on a certain date. The visits needed to be by a certain date. The essay had to be done by a certain date. And it worked out great. She got into a fabulous school in Virginia. She loves it. Her financial aid was spectacular. It was like she's going to this beautiful private school in Virginia for, I think, the same tuition as she could have gone to the state school here, which would have been a very different experience. So she's thrilled. She was riding up through COVID. I think she's going to start. They're not competing, I don't think, but she's going to jump back into horseback riding in January. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So at the core of this is really, tracking your progress, So tell me where you go off the rails. Like, what are the places when you're not achieving your goals? Where do you fall down? We're going to talk about some tools for tracking and how, we're going to go a little deeper into some ways to track your goals. But tell me where you fall down. I can imagine it's either losing track of your goal, not making a weekly plan. It's important that you have your goal front and center. for sure. But tell me that as we go on. The other thing is this is super important because I know as for myself, I'll do something really big and then I'll think, okay, what's next? I got to keep going. Like, what's next? And it's important to at least get a high five in the kitchen. Like Greg doesn't even really know a lot of how I spend my day. So I just go out in the kitchen. I'm like, I just did this thing I never thought I'd be able to do. I made it to my next step of my goal, boom, big high five, and I'm like, yes. And he's like, great. And he has no idea. So you don't have to celebrate with people who know what you're talking about because most people don't know. They don't understand what I do. They don't understand the work. Greg's mother's like, what? You talk to people on the computer? I'm like, I do. She's like, I have no idea how that works. I'm like, it's okay. It's good. So you don't need to find someone to acknowledge you that understands it, because that makes it harder. And he doesn't have to agree with what I'm doing. It's just like, I did this thing. Yes. Okay. So definitely celebrate, hit the pause button for a minute, take it in, definitely take it in as you move through, and acknowledge it. So for Angela, she says, for me, it's typically company coming over, got to clean the whole house, bake, etc. You might, so I would think about how you could do both. Like, so Emily's coming home and I have to clean, like, I thought I had to clean the whole house, but I realized, I don't really need to clean my room. It should be cleaned, but I could take that off my plate for before Friday. And, does the tree need to be totally up? Not really. We could finish it together. I talk about this a lot, but I want to come to your house if you're going to clean the whole thing and bake. Baking sounds really great. But one of the things that I grew up in a house that was very ordered, very ordered. We had like white sofas and they were not dirty because there were a lot of rules about how you moved to the house and what you did. And one of the things was we folded our underwear. And, it's like, we just did that. And I took a look around my life when I started my VA business. And because I moved 3 times in 4 years. So I'm touching all my stuff a lot. And I stripped down to I still have a bunch of stuff, but I stripped it down quite a bit. So I didn't have to take care of so many things. And I looked at like the process of my life, because I was like, where am I spending time that I could be with Emily, that I could be working on my business and things like that. And so I don't fold my underwear anymore. I went to the Container Store. It's a super cool store in parts of the US. And I bought fabric boxes and I fit them into my underwear drawer because we're girls, right? We have all these different kinds of underwear. And they're categorized, like this kind, that kind, different kinds. So they're there and they're easy to find. And the drawer's not a mess, but my underwear is not folded. And sure, that probably would only take me 15 minutes, but 15 minutes times 52, I don't know how much that is, but a bunch, and I just started to do things like that, like, put my dishes in the sink all day long, and then all at once I put them in the dishwasher at night. Actually, Greg does it. I have to tell the truth, but thinking about it that way, like, do I need to dust the guest room? Not yet. We don't have a guest, so thinking about it like that. But the baking sounds great. Dana, stripping down, my goal for the beginning of 2022, stripping down my house stuff, not me. You're very funny. I'll tell you something that I did that was one of the best things I did for myself was when I moved the last time, I set up tables in my house, these like IKEA, it was an apartment. And I put all my stuff on a table, and before it went into the box, I was like, okay, let's have a moment. Do I want you? Do I need you? And I really, that was my big test. Nothing got put in a box unless I had a meeting with it. And then I like to try to go through my house every year. That hasn't been possible lately because that was one of the things I had to let go of, but in the last 2 years, because it's been so busy, but I'm doing it now. And we've been filling the car like crazy with stuff that we just do not need. Yeah. Because, I read, what is that woman, Maria Marie Kondo. I read her book, and I didn't go to that extreme, with the organization and all that stuff. But the concept of, does this spark joy? It was like, well, does this spark joy, or is this something that somebody gave me that I don't even know, why I'm keeping it, but it was really expensive, so I should keep it. I got rid of all that stuff for the most part. All right, so let's talk about some ways here, some sort of mindset things. Okay, so I want to encourage you to write your story. So this is my story, and I haven't done this for a while, but I'm going to do it for 2022. So the questions are, what do you want to leave behind this year? And those could be things like procrastination. Useless comparison is one that I think I'm getting better at. I used to be really bad at that. Money wasting. I don't mind investing in myself, but I don't like to waste money. So that was one of the things that I left behind. Things I want to learn, books I want to read. And then here's the big question. What would it look like if your year went perfectly? What would you have, be, or do? And so what I do is I run through the areas of my life. There's a paragraph about Rocket Girl. There's a paragraph, about me and Greg, about Emily, things that I want to change. Like I would like us to travel more. So there's a paragraph about that. And so just kind of, write the story. And then what you do from here is, if you want to read more books, figure out how a plan for that. Like, it's not just reading more books. It's all right. So which books, stack them up. When are you going to do that? Getting really specific. So you take that story and break it down. The other thing I like to do is spend some time with my goals, think about them and, what's it going to feel like when that happens, and really put some emotion to it, because that's the fuel, that's the fuel. And also I sit down and I'll say, well, where am I with that goal, and celebrate that. Like, look at all the things that I've done. Look at all the things. So spend some time really connecting to it. Here are some tools that I use. So I have two types of goals. I have business goals and I have more personal goals. The business goals are typically, they're in some kind of, project management software, or on which I'll talk about, or on my calendar. But my personal goals are in this book. And I don't know why I do it that way. You can put them all in one place, but for me, there's something about this book that just feels, I like having it in my hand. So I would set up, you can do it a couple different ways. Like this particular one on this page here, it says, so 30-day challenge, what are you going to do? What are your weekly goals? And then if you turn the page, it breaks it down by week. So you can, write the things that you want to accomplish to get closer to your goal. So for example, if you wanted to, be physically fit, you could say, work out. One of the goals for the week could be to, work out 5 times a week. And then on the weekly goal, you can say work out and then put check marks, by each time that you do it. Things like that. So there's something really satisfying about doing that, I think, for me. The other thing, whoops, wrong way. And then the other thing is I put things on my calendar for my business goals. So for example, writing the newsletter for the VA Connection, that doesn't just happen because I'm like, I should do that. It's on my calendar for every week. And it doesn't always get done, but I acknowledge it. Same thing with exercise and client work. So all of that goes on my calendar so that I'm looking at it and addressing it every single day. The other thing you can do is you can use a tool like Trello. And what I use Trello for is I have a lot of ideas around my goals, and I have this habit of, the Post-it habit. So what I do is when this gets like this, I'll sit down and I'll put the Post-its in Trello, and I'll write the content of the whole Post-it on the Trello card so I can see it. So it's sort of like, and I categorize them according to, what it is. Because, when we're creating big things for ourselves, we have ideas, I have one that's like newsletter ideas. I have one that's, website changes I want to make, things that I see that I like. I have one Christmas gift ideas for Greg and Emily and the boys, so that if I have an idea, I don't have to find that Post-it again. So that helps me a lot. And consistency is everything, right? Now, it's probably impossible to choose a goal, to break it down, and to stay on track every single week. So let's just acknowledge that, okay? It's not easy. But what I want you to do is create a mechanism where you're looking at them. So maybe it's Sunday night on your calendar, or Monday morning, or Friday night. You can put it on your calendar. Check in with my goals. Just check in. And then make your plan for the next week so that it will accommodate at least one step, at least one step toward your goals. So who knows some of their goals? Raise your hand. I guess we can't really raise your hand here. So put it in the chat if you have a goal in mind. It's a little scary, and you're ready to go for it. I'd love to hear that. You can just say yes. I know there's a little lag. But yeah, I'd love to hear. I've been in mastermind groups before around goal setting, and we had to check in every single week. And there's something very empowering about writing your goals and putting them out to the universe. So Dana, yeah, launching my business with my newsletters. I have to tell you, the newsletter is such a powerful thing. In VA school, the current group that's going through, there are a couple of people who are on fire, and it's their newsletter. Their newsletter is just bringing it in. Get my website in a box, out of the box. Yes. So that's something else that everyone in the VA Connection will hear about soon. I've been rolling it out kind of slowly. I have a course that's called, what's it called, Dana? The VA Connection, done for you, website in a box for virtual assistants. So there's a way that you can create a WordPress website in just a few hours, really, from scratch on WordPress, and all the instructions are there. And many people have purchased it so far, and it's gotten some great reviews. So yes, done for you. Yeah, so that's really exciting. So you watch this space, because you're going to be hearing more about that in the future. Okay, so here's what I've got for you. If you want to hear more about the VA Connection, there's so many VA Connection, VA Client Kickstart Challenge, right? So the Client Kickstart Challenge, that is a 5-day training that we're going to have coming up very soon. And what we're going to do is, on day 1, we talk about the services that you can offer. You'll come away with a list of 1 to 3 things that you can start to offer right away. On day 2, we talk about something that is so critical, and that is how to talk about your work so other people will know what you're talking about. And that is one of the most important things, I think, in starting a VA business, is to be able to do that in a clear, 1 sentence kind of a way. So we do that on day 2. On day 3, we talk about your marketing plan, your sprinkling plan, my 3 favorite ways of getting a steady stream of clients in your business. So we arm you with what you're doing. We teach you how to talk about it. And then on day 3, what do you do with that now? On day 4, we talk about all the systems that you need to set up your VA business. We're going to go in depth about that. And then I open the doors to my school. It's called VA School. We'll open enrollment for a few days, and people who want to continue to work with me can jump right into that opportunity and get started. And then on day 5, we have a Q&A, live Q&A. All of these sessions are live, and I answer all the questions. So if you want to come and you have questions about getting clients, please do that. So just type challenge in whether you're watching the replay or watching this live, and I'll send you a link. Okay, so watch your DMs if you do that. All right, everybody, this was great. Thank you so much for coming. One of my favorite topics, and I want to hear all about your goals. So make sure that as you set them, if you'd like, put them here in the replay, and I'd love to hear that, and I'd love to help you with them. So let me know if I can help you with your goals in your VA business. All right, Dana. Yes, you have a great day too. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.